Welcome. This is Experience Makers Amsterdam. Good to see you all here. Welcome in Theater Amsterdam, of course, on behalf of Adobe. My name is Maarten Bouwhuis. It's a pleasure to be your host today. I work as a professional host and I work as a presenter at BNR Nieuwsradio here in Amsterdam. And 25 years ago, I started studying communication and marketing in Rotterdam. I even used Adobe, Photoshop, with a CD-ROM. In 25 years, the world is changing rapidly. Even in 1 year, it goes so fast. And that's why Adobe today is offering you a full program based on their 4 pillars of customer experience. Innovate through experiences, of course. Be competitive through content. Content, so important. Deliver value through values. It's all about purpose-driven marketing, of course. And the experience of last year, so important for you, your co-pilot as a marketeer, AI, Gen AI, generative AI. It's about inspiring, it's about building loyalty, and it's, of course, about responsible growth in this digital era and digital-first economy. Yeah, and for you as marketeers, you have to work with, unfortunately, less money, less time, and most of the times also less people. Theme of today is progress your way. Do it your way. Create experiences for your customers. No matter the stage or skill of your brand, can be big, can be small. No matter the different situation you're in as a professional, being a senior, being a junior. No matter the resources you have to do it your way, you have to progress your way. Well, that is what the show will be about, and we're going to start with our first guest. Of course, we have to start with him, because he's a digital advertising veteran. We have to say that, with over 20 years of experience for Disney, for T-Mobile, and now working for Adobe. The general manager of the Benelux here at Adobe, Alex Azzopardi.
So, hi Maarten.
Hi,
what a room! I can feel the energy today.
It's good, eh? Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, your entrance was good. Mine was okay, but
I love the smoke. By the way,
it was good.
Was not expecting it.
You've been general manager for 4 years now. I presume seeing all your customers and clients sitting here makes you proud.
Yeah, very happy. I'm thrilled to be here today. It's a big day for us.
Yeah, can imagine. And working for 4 years now in the Netherlands, living in the Netherlands as well. Hoe is je Nederlands?
Ja, ik spreek een beetje Nederlands, maar niet genoeg voor een goed gesprek met jou, Maarten. So that's pretty much everything I can say.
And my French is so bad, so we'll continue in English.
Yeah, let's switch to
today,
English.
some of you will know, there's also Adobe Max.
Yeah,
so another big event in the US. What's it about?
Yeah, that's a very special day today. So we're kicking off Adobe Max in Los Angeles. That's the largest creativity conference where we're gathering the creative community to learn, connect, and share.
Yeah.
There are hundreds of innovations that will be released, but there are 2 that caught my attention. The first one is brands can now bring their own intellectual property and data within Firefly to train the model.
Okay. So Firefly, your Gen AI tool, brands can bring their own data into the tool.
Their data, but their IP as well.
Nice.
Everything that makes their brand. So that
is from today. That is the first scoop you're sharing with us.
That's going to be customizable. So it's kind of scoop, but it's be released later in the day with the time difference.
Okay.
We
need a scoop, Alex.
Yeah, that's one. That's one. And then the second one I think is the availability for 3D objects and video. That's also a massive announcement.
Okay, video and 3D objects within Firefly as well.
Firefly, yeah.
Oh, that's nice, because I was experiencing just with pictures, but that's for dummies then.
No, that's the beginning. Then it's growing.
Yeah, this event organized by Adobe, of course, but together with partners. That's important for you to work together.
Yeah, definitely. So we could not do it by ourselves. So I want to take the opportunity to thank our partner for their commitment, their passion, and their contribution to our business. So all the experiences that you see, we'll do it with our customers and our partners, and we're working hand in hand every day together.
Yeah,
So thank
and
you
we
for
will
that.
see that cooperation today, for example, at the tech talks. At
Definitely.
the end of the
Yeah.
plenary, there are specific tech talks where partners will do a keynote presentation with an Adobe
With
client.
brands, exactly. So they will share together.
That's nice. Looking at the marketeers, what are some of the biggest challenges you say they have working for their brands and for their customers?
So while talking with CMOs, you touch upon it a bit, and I think that it's threefold. So the content demand has exploded. So it's really rising faster than marketing budget, than people available to create them. And then the businesses, they feel pressure to deliver campaign and to launch campaign, not on weeks as it was before, but more on days. So that's the first one. The second one I would say is that there's a need for a personalization that keeps growing. So the consumer, whether they buy cars or they go to grocery shopping, they want to be recognized, they want to get the right offer, but also want to be able to personalize their choices.
Yeah.
And the last one I think is quite new, is societal pressure. So when I talk with all CMOs, they tell us that consumers have at the top of their mind the purpose and how the businesses are doing. Are they doing good and better? So they look a lot at sustainability to arbitrage on their choice.
Doing good and better, focus on sustainability, maybe human rights or labor, all those societal.
Yeah, all those aspects that they really look at that to arbitrate on their choices as consumer.
We will see that in the keynotes today as well. Is there something you're specifically looking forward to?
Yeah, I really look forward to keynotes. We have amazing brands. They have great stories to share, and I really look forward as well. As a Formula One fan, I look forward for Williams Racing, and Iden has an amazing story to share.
Yeah.
So,
any other Formula One fans here?
Let's meet in the crowd, yeah?
Max Verstappen, does it say anything to you? The presentation of Williams will be nice at the end of the show.
Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Martin, and wishing everyone a great day. I hope you will leave the room with lots of inspiration. Thank you for coming. Have a great day.
Alex, thank you. Well, let's start our program, because first up is the Director of Product Marketing EMEA of Adobe, listening to the name of Jamie Brighton.
Jamie Brighton is a digital marketing expert with over 20 years of global experience. This Director of Product Marketing EMEA at Adobe empowers businesses with customer experience technologies, focusing on platforms, personalization, AI, and exceptional customer experiences.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I nearly didn't walk on, they had to nudge me. I was too busy looking at my picture and hearing the voice of God there, so apologies for that. Director of Product Marketing for the Digital Experience Business Unit at Adobe in EMEA, and that represents the voice of the customer, both internally and externally. These kind of events are a real opportunity for me to hear from our customers on stage, but also within the networking areas around some of the challenges and opportunities. And I hope that you have taken the opportunity and will take the opportunity to network with your fellow attendees today. These are a great place to do that kind of thing. So we're talking today about how to drive and deliver growth for your organizations, accelerate the growth that's required in many organizations through delivering exceptional digital experiences. I'd just like you to take a look left and right at the people who are sitting next to you. It might be difficult to look across the auditorium. You represent the most influential brands in this region. Your marketers, your business leaders, your technologists, and hopefully you also consider yourself to be part of a community. And I think that that's incredibly important when we think about community and how we need to share the challenges that are there, share the challenges that we have as individuals and as businesses, and come together to try and solve those challenges. And that's a lot of what today is really about. No one here has it easy. There are internal pressures around delivering revenue, delivering more sales, budgets are under scrutiny, you've got pressure from customers in terms of being relevant for the customer, understanding them, delivering and meeting their needs. And standards that are required from the experiences that you deliver have never been higher, but the margin for error has never been slimmer. There are, as we've heard already from Martin and Alex, there are many forces out there, particularly things like economic uncertainty, record inflation, these are having a direct impact on the cost of doing business and how likely a consumer is to engage with you and to transact with you as an organization. So the themes, they're going to come out again and again today. How do we do more with less? How do we generate growth in a responsible way when we have these kind of headwinds out there in the market? Well, we believe that there are 3 drivers of growth: attracting new customers through exceptional experiences, building loyalty, and therefore, hopefully, selling more to your existing customer base, and reducing costs and improving your overall marketing ROI. The answer to all of these things is actually to focus on the experience that you are delivering for your customers, for your digital citizens if you're in government. Those experiences need to be tailored to the needs of the consumer, engaging and relevant, high impact in terms of the content that you're creating and delivering, and they need to be created and delivered and personalized across every surface, every channel, every touch point that a consumer might have with you and your brand. And you have to ensure that that journey that somebody comes on with your brand is one that makes them feel connected to you and feels a connected journey overall. If you do that, then you will end up delivering growth. You will do what we consider at Adobe to be deliver experience-led growth for your organization. There are some technology requirements, as you'd probably expect for this. You need to be able to personalize in real time. You need to have mastery of the content that you're creating. And you need to be able to do this across all of those channels that I've been talking about, and do that really in a compelling way that's going to get the consumer, the digital citizen, to engage. Research that we've conducted recently at Adobe shows us that this is not just me, not just Adobe saying this, but consumers are telling us that they expect brands to raise their standards in these challenging times. They prefer experience over discounts, and that creates a huge opportunity for us. And we would say as Adobe that the technology is there. So the requirements are there for customers and individuals and for brands in a B2B setting. The technology is there, and this is only going to get more powerful with the addition of things like AI and generative AI capabilities. Personalization is the heart of everything we do at Adobe, so much so that we've changed our mission statement recently to be changing the world through personalized digital experiences. We know that when you personalize, that generates data. But stats show that many organizations are actually wasting a lot of the data that they're creating. So I want to jump straight now to a demonstration to show you how organizations can avoid wasting that data, and show you how Smart Europe, one of the world's most loved automotive brands, is actually using Adobe to capitalize on the data and drive personalization. And to do that, I'm going to ask to come to the stage Peter.
Thanks, Jamie. Let's get this beast up and running for this live demo. Okay, here we are. So I'm very excited to show you some recent innovations in the Experience Cloud that empower brands to drive experience-led growth. From acquisition to engagement to retention. So over here we have our Adobe Experience platform. I'd like to thank Smart for using their use case, because they recently introduced the #1 electric vehicle to market. And as a marketer at Smart, I'd like to create and increase the awareness of this #1 new electric vehicle. And I want to increase the use of the Hello Smart mobile app. So here we are, looking at the new audience portal in RTCDP within Adobe Experience Platform. Over here, you can see all the audiences that have been created across the organization. That come from Experience Cloud applications, that come from third-party applications, or maybe even enterprise systems. And the nice thing is that we now have introduced Adobe Sensei GenAI. And as said, Adobe Sensei GenAI is the new name of the GenAI engine that's incorporated across all enterprise cloud applications. And together with all the audiences that we've captured in RTCDP, we can really, truly reimagine our audience strategy. So Let's look at Adobe Sensei Gen AI. It acts as a co-pilot. It can guide me, but it also can come up with opportunities of ideas. So let's ask Adobe Sensei to suggest an audience in Switzerland to target that are likely to have an interest in the hashtag #OneSmartCar. And my target is 1 million profiles. Now, Adobe Sensei already came up with 800,000 profiles based on the following profile attributes. We want 1 million, so we'd like to expand that. We can now use lookalike modeling to expand it, but we can also include partner data. For example, from Merkle or Experian or other partners that have these support within Adobe RTCDP. Let's include partner data. We now have 1.1 million profiles in our audience that are in the market for a new car. Let's say we cancel or remove the people that reside in an urban area. Would you like to save this as an audience? Yes, I'm saving it. And immediately this audience becomes available in my audiences portal, ready to be activated across channels, via social, or maybe via Adobe Journey Optimizer for deeper one-on-one engagement. And that's what we're going to do. So let's have a look at the new Experiments tab. Here in the Experiments tab, you can see all the experiments that are currently running throughout the organization across channels, including the in-car console experiment we're running through the headless API. Now, I already created a Hello Smart app experiment through and for Adobe Journey Optimizer. You can see it's an experiment via web, via email, and via mobile app. And at this point of time, we are targeting 7.9 million people. Let's change that to the 1 million people audience we created earlier. It's that simple. And you can see here the experiment is split between 3 treatments, A, B, and C. And the one that has the best and the highest impact will be used in the actual journey. I can see in red there's some content missing. Let's click on that. So let's switch to the email. This email has already been created by Adobe Sensei Gen AI because it looks at the audience we're targeting. At this point of time, I'm not really satisfied with the text in the body, so let's use the generate function of Adobe Sensei Gen AI. I want to have a more, let's say, engaging tone of voice. I want it to be brand aware. I already put in my prompt, and I can generate a new text and put it in the email body. Here you are. It's that simple. We've created and activated this experiment, and it's ready to be used in the journey. Let's switch to Adobe Journey Optimizer. Adobe Journey Optimizer can orchestrate cross-channel journeys that reaches our audience, no matter how they interact with Smart, inbound or outbound, in this case via mobile app, email, or web. Now let's measure the usage and the retention of this campaign by switching to Customer Journey Analytics. Here in Customer Journey Analytics, I'm able to combine all sorts of different data that comes from different sources. Think of it as Adobe Analytics on steroids. So not only web and mobile app, but also marketing data, cross-channel data, product data. We can all combine it. We can even combine offline data from the entire customer journey. Now, we can show a lot of dashboards in Customer Journey Analytics, and I'll advise you to go to the Experience Tour, but what I'd like to show you is the new innovation we recently announced called Product Analytics. With Product Analytics, I can dig deeper as a product manager or as a marketer into reporting and analysis around, in this case, the mobile app usage. So let's create a funnel for the product team. Oh, let's click this one. I need to go to the Hello Smart app logins. And then I can go to the ones that have received the experiment, the ones that have clicked through the experiment, and the people that have searched for charging stations in the app. This creates an entire funnel with dropouts, which is very useful information for product teams. Now, let's switch to the user growth, because we can also track user growth. And product managers and marketers need to answer questions like, are we getting new users? Are we keeping users? Or are they falling dormant? And what I can now do, for example, in the September 2023 audience, is say, create an audience, and the new audience is created and is ready for activation across channels, such as with Adobe Journey Optimizer. Here you can see the September 2023 current users. Now, that makes the circle closed again. Now, let's switch to the conclusion. What we've seen here in this very short demo is how Experience Cloud empowers brands to drive experience-led growth with innovations such as the new partner data option in RTCDP for acquisition and enrichment, Adobe Gen AI, Adobe Product Analytics, and a new home for experimentation across all Experience Cloud applications. Well, these are some great capabilities to analyze insights even faster and to deliver personalized experiences across the entire customer journey. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Peter. That was fantastic. You showed us so much in such a short time there. Brilliant. So let's switch gears a little bit now. Peter alluded to some of this, but let's talk about content. Content is critical because it's how, once you've got all that data, it's how you actually connect with the customer. And we know that demand for high quality content is exploding. In fact, when we spoke to marketers and business leaders, 80% of them told us that the demand for content had doubled in the last 2 years, and we know that it's only going up on the graph. But it takes time to manage, create, and deliver great content at scale. It takes coordination to plan, develop, review, and finalize assets. And increasingly, we believe that you need to start thinking in terms of a content supply chain, from workflow and planning to creation and production and activation and delivery. And Adobe Gen Studio is the product answer to the content supply chain challenge. Traditionally, campaigns required weeks of brief writing, ideation, workshops, collaboration, activation, and even more time for analytics and reporting post-campaign launch. Now, integrations across Adobe Creative Cloud, Adobe Experience Cloud, together with the power of generative AI, are taking these cycles to minutes instead of days. And you're going to hear a little bit more about this from my colleague Johan, and he's going to be talking in the session later, one size does not fit all, and the reality of that. You've heard the words generative AI already quite a bit in this presentation. I was going to make a joke about it's a marketing conference and we're legally obliged to say it, but we've already done that. I think we might be close to the limit. But the reason that we're talking about it is that it's not a buzzword or a buzz term. We and you are already seeing real value from the power of generative AI in your organizations. 89% of marketers said that they felt that this would help them personalize. And when the stat loads, 56% of leaders, I actually thought it was 90, that doesn't seem to have loaded, but there we go, 90. I wanted the number to be bigger, it went up. Told us that that generative AI was going to help them in the creation of these compelling experiences. So what does that mean in terms of product reality within Adobe? You've heard the term Firefly, which is our creative generative AI models. Firefly and Adobe Express are going to help in terms of that skyrocketing demand for beautiful and impactful content. And I hope you've had a chance or will have a chance to see the Firefly and Express activation that we have in the entranceway. But this is about creating content that is personalized and beautiful, but doing it in a much easier way and doing it in a way that critically to Adobe and our customers is commercially safe and commercially viable. And then Peter alluded to this a little bit in his demonstration from Smart Europe in terms of the other side of generative AI. We talk a lot about using AI for things like computer vision and creating assets from scratch, but actually AI is an incredible co-pilot, or generative AI is an incredible co-pilot when it comes to creating copy or refining that copy and making it more relevant for your audiences and segments of your customer base. So Adobe Sensei Gen AI is reshaping the way that we as as marketers, do and think about copy ideation and copy creation. But it's also critically helping us to analyze the data that we're collecting from these incredible experiences and understand how we can drive insights, derive insights from those, and improve all of our digital touchpoints and digital experiences moving forward. Because we know that the better the content, the more somebody will engage with it, the more they engage, the more likely they are to convert, and the more they engage, the more data they're generating that we can use to understand their needs and be relevant to them. Long-term loyalty, building up that picture of the individual or the citizen over time, is built on trust and not a single campaign, however. And as we heard in the very start of today, it's never been more critical to understand your values and represent those. And we believe that real business value is built on your values. Social impact, sustainability. People buy from brands that share their values. Technology can help you here. So things like the Content Authenticity Initiative, content credentials, and our whole approach to AI in Adobe is built on this model of being accountable, responsible, and transparent. And that, we believe, is critically important to the success of the experiences that you deliver and ultimately the success of your businesses. And that's crucial for us because, as I wrap up today, the message here is that although we are a technology company, we also want to be your partner and ultimately the partner to help you accelerate growth from the exceptional experiences that you deliver. I hope you will enjoy the rest of the program today. We've got some fantastic speakers and we've got a fantastic event outside. So have a great rest of afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jamie Brighton and Peter Schouten. Well, that was a nice demo. You have to check your aunt in Switzerland because she just received an email. We should do that on the next conference. Just live push out would be nice. Okay, it's nice, good stories about what's possible, but how to put it into practice. And how does one achieve that working at a multi-brand organization? Because that's a little bit tougher than just for one car brand. Deborah Nielens. She works at Colruyt. She's the head of the customer marketing domain at Colruyt Group. And she's here because it's time for our first pillar, innovate through experiences.
With 12 years in FMCG marketing under her belt, Deborah Nielens now heads customer marketing at Colruyt Group, delivering growth for businesses, brands and teams. She's leading a program to integrate large-scale personalization into Colruyt Group's diverse retail brand ecosystem.
Hi, Deborah.
Hello.
How do you do?
Very well, thank you.
Welcome on my small stage. So you work at Colruyt Group, which is a Belgian supermarket, but it's more than that. Over 40 plus brands.
Yes, indeed.
Can you talk us through what kind of business is it?
We're very happy to. Colruyt is actually a Belgian retail group. We originated in the 1920s, starting with one brand, Colruyt.
It's pretty old,
prices.
actually.
Yeah, it's pretty old. Yeah, definitely. We started indeed a long time ago, but over time we did diversify our portfolio. And now today we have over 40 brands within that portfolio, which is kind of also indeed, again, the challenge that we're managing today as a Belgian retailer.
What kind of brands? Because it's supermarket, but it's all retail.
It's very diversified. So we work in different areas. So we have retail brands, many different brands there. But
Colruyt is low cost, but the other brands are not specifically low cost.
No. We, for example, also have a retail concept on biological products, for example. Nice. But next to that, we're also active in the health sector. But we also have, for example, a chain of gas stations, which is That's 24. So it's super diversified.
So because it's important to express, it's pretty wide, a large multi-brand company. And you want to focus on, let's say, grow, but you have a big skill and it's complex. And you want to focus on personalized customer experience.
Yes.
What are the challenges?
Well, if you would think of a company having multiple brands, of course, our challenge is there to make every brand relevant for a customer. And our customers today, they interact with each brand individually. Where we see our challenge is to actually leverage more the group element of it, to make sure that they interact with Colruyt as a group and that they also see the value of combining multiple brands in our portfolio.
Yeah, and that's a specific strategy because you could always also choose not to do so.
Yeah, indeed. Yes,
Yeah.
but it's a conscious choice.
Yeah, and you want to, let's say, experience the advantages of being part of the group.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
and then you ask Adobe as a technology partner, what do you expect from them?
Yeah. The thing that we're trying to work out today is actually we have decentralized brands. And the brands are decentralized for a very good reason. They all have their own individual strategy, which they translate into tactics and operations. But then there's a part of the organization that we do centralize because it's just more optimal to organize some stuff centrally. Like, for example, managing our customer records, it's more efficient if you just do it in a central way. And so for us, it's really about Adobe helping us to simplify, empower, and connect with our customers. Simplify in the way that we just want to make customers' lives easier at all times.
Okay.
We have many different ways in which we can do that, going from putting eco scores on products, digital receipts, just simplifying their life overall. We want to empower them as well to make good choices in terms of nutrition, in terms of conscious consumption, so just empowering them to do that. But we also want to connect. We want to connect with them, with our brands, but we also want them to connect in between or with each other.
Yeah.
Which is
But what is simplifying for the one person is different for the other.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's the issue.
That's the issue. And that's where personalization at scale and hence what Adobe can offer for us comes in place. Because there we really want to make sure that, okay, if we take the value of simplification, it's something else for you than it is for me. If you might be a conscious consumer. And so simplification could be for you that it's really easy to find products in our assortment that are generating a very low impact on the planet. This could be what helps you to make your choice simple. I, for example, could have a big family and only a small budget, so I might want to handle my budget in a good way. And also there, we really want to put people with simple solutions to make those choices to also manage their budget well. So simplicity for you and for me is different. And now we can really tailor-make a solution for each and every of our customers.
Yeah, so you're also looking at the values of your customers, but maybe also based on the values of your company.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah. So
and
there
that's
you
the
want
beautiful
to
thing.
find some kind of combination.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're at the beginning of the transformation right now?
Yes.
Spent quite some time in preparing.
Absolutely.
That's always good. How did you go about it so far?
Yeah, it was already quite a journey. We started over a year ago, I would say almost 2 years ago, with more of a strategic exercise.
Okay.
Just really making our strategy clear, putting our goals out there. Followed by a really big fit gap analysis. Of course, if you want to get somewhere, there's probably a good reason why you're not there yet. And one of the things that we discovered is that we didn't really have the good technology in place to do that personalization at scale. So hence the reach out for Adobe. We didn't do that directly. So we went also through an RFP process. So we identified the gap and then we went into the market looking for the right solution. So the RFP then indeed brought us to make the choice for Adobe. Which we're now implementing through our implementation partner, Accenture.
Yeah, so you're working Adobe and Accenture.
Yes, combined.
And you picked them both
independently,
actually. It could also have been another mix.
It could have been another mix, yes.
But that's what it is. So now you're moving from ideation and selection towards implementation.
Yes.
What are the lessons so far?
Yeah, so actually we're implementing it today. We're only at the beginning of our journey because we are going to ramp it up very soon. And I would invite everybody also to join the Tech Talk later on where we will share a bit more on how that's going so far. But how we're going about implementing, I think the combination of the both teams is very important. We consciously chose for an implementation partner because they do bring in some knowledge from the outside. But it's also important to combine it with the knowledge that you have within your own company. I would not advise to do only the one or only the other, but how we set up for success, and that's quite, just our story, is that we combine the best of both, bringing the outside in, but also your own expertise is super fundamental, and that's how we aim to get the most out of it.
So you have to create teams work together,
Yeah.
but also, let's say, invest in your own people within the company.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise it's all external.
Yeah, which is what you don't want. You really want to have an optimal combination.
Yeah. You said you will do a tech talk, but please let me, just a question about tech. How do you see the MarTech stack that is evolving and it will empower the different brands? How will you manage that?
Yeah. Well, I explained earlier, like part of our organization is centrally set up, and also our technology, managing the different technologies that we use in a combined way, is also managed in a central way. So what we hope for is that
because that is the issue, because the company itself is decentralized, because the brands are decentralized.
But some aspects are central.
Yeah, and this is quite important that it is central managed.
Yes.
Go on.
Because then you can actually, you can see the whole puzzle instead of having all your pieces spread out. So what we're hoping it will bring is actually to have a more efficient solution, having less different technologies, combining stuff that is now spread all over into one solution, enabling us to, personalize at scale, also in a real-time way.
Yeah. Because we see a visualization which is a little bit like Peter just explained what you can do with the tools.
Yes.
And all that work, creating campaigns, for example, will be done centralized.
The creation of the content, yes and no, but then the setting up of the journey and everything that goes into the AAP, yes, that will be a centralized exercise.
Okay. Yes. So there's a marketeer of a specific brand and it has to work with headquarters.
Yes.
To work that out.
Yes. So also that setup is something that we will need to be very mindful of.
Yeah. Because the key question is, when it's all in place, what will be the differentiator for the success? What will make the success?
Yeah. A lot of debate about that, but for me personally, it would be the people. Because we have a lot of beautiful people in place who are really talented and have great skills, but you do see that also a new set of skills is required to make this transformation. And they were very aware that having the right people in place with the right skill sets, and which is also certain skills that still need to be developed, is very important. Because technology is one thing, but you do still need your people to interact with the technology, choose to make the right actions based on the insights that are generated. And so there, I would say people is a very
But I can imagine that's still an organizational challenge, because there are some marketeers working for brands and they have to change the way they work because there's more, let's say the whole tech is now centralized. So they have to work together.
Yes, definitely.
Or are they looking forward to do so? Because it changes their job or it makes it more professional? Or?
Well, it's kind of exciting and scary at the same time. So they see the enormous opportunities that are there, like how it can really help us and how it can move us forward. But it's also quite, they see it as kind of a challenge to go with that change and to...
We invited you to share this story because of the multi-brand, a big organization. However, sitting here in the audience, having maybe a little bit smaller organization, what is the most important learning you want to share with them?
Yeah, I would say really chop it up into pieces. Don't see it as a super huge, enormous project, but really go one step at a time, looking at how you can really create value in small steps, chopping it up. And that will also, if you're a smaller organization, maybe with a smaller budget, and even if you're a big organization and you want to just do it efficiently and not waste a lot of budget, I would say chop it up, do it small, and then you can also really manage your budgets a whole lot better.
Thank you so much. Good luck with the next step. What is the most important step till Christmas?
The most, RG2, the end of the definition phase that's coming up now, end of October. So that's a big milestone for us.
So you're quite busy. Made some time to share a story here.
Yeah, you're
Deborah,
welcome.
Thank you so much. With a big hand. Yeah, and as she already said, she will address a tech talk together with Accenture after the plenary here in this room. And as said, it is a centralized engine that is running her customer experiences in the future. Carly's company Leaseplan, they're doing the same. And their challenge is having all the people within the company aligned in this new challenge and in this transition. Let's have a look.
So Leaseplan is a multinational leasing company. About 6-7 years ago, Leaseplan decided to make the jump to become the move from a traditional leasing company to a digital leasing company.
In digital engagement, we have a lot of processes that we actually digitalized fully, like retention processes. That goes full automated based on the data we have in our systems.
The salespeople who used to work on retention don't have to focus their time on that anymore.
With Adobe CDP, we have an asset in our hands that actually can help us realize the digital dream. We can use and utilize this technology to delight our customers at the very best level.
We had a very quick implementation. So from the time the contract was signed until we were actually live was about 3.5 months. 5 years, 4 or 5 years, we've now been running a retention program automated. And there's not one customer who has waited to 2 weeks to go, so a salesperson has to call them. That would say to me that not only is the process effective, but the tooling and the way it's working is very, very effective.
For localization and time to market, you're way faster and you're much more to the point of offering what a customer actually expects and wants. Also, the customer experience we get back from our surveys are just very high.
So the CDP will actually be instrumental in getting the data towards our countries very, very quickly. And we have them live segments already set up, activated towards the different channels. Basically, they don't have to go and start creating all these different segments. It's there ready for them to use.
The thing we should have done or could have done better is actually be more communicative internally in the organization to explain what we were doing and what it actually meant as an organization to add this asset to our technology stack.
Well, thank you so much. The Leaseplan story, and Kevin will share some more insights as well during the tech talks. My next guest is, well, she has a business goal that everybody is dreaming of. I should say that, radically simplifying the brand's customer experience. And that is quite a challenge for her. And it's easier said than done, as you all know, because she works at Toyota. She's a senior manager, digital strategy and transformation. Emma Johnson.
Emma Johnson creates cross-channel experiences and data-driven optimizations in collaboration with EU markets. This senior manager of digital strategy, with over 17 years of experience at Toyota Motor Europe, excels in sales, marketing, and brand leadership.
Emma, good to have you here.
Good afternoon. I'm very well, thank you.
We invited you, of course, because you're using Adobe Experience Cloud.
Absolutely.
You will address that in your keynote. Working on customer experience for Toyota for so long already. What's your personal drive?
The customer, and it sounds really cliche, but it really is the thing that connects us. Whether it's a retailer, a market, or TME, it's a thing that we're all trying to improve and using digital to make it more seamless, simple, and transparent.
And that is quite a challenge, because in the old days, the customer visited, as I remember, the shop 7 times before they're buying a car, and now it's just 1 time.
You're absolutely right. You've been reading up.
Yeah, or is it less than 1 already?
Probably less.
Yeah, probably less. So you have to have your digital experiences
For some customers,
all in place.
Yes. Absolutely.
Well, take it away, it's your keynote.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. And good afternoon, everybody. It's really fantastic to be here. Today, I want to share 2 things. First of all, a really practical example of how Toyota are creating new digital experiences, but also how we are changing the way we are organized and our people to drive change at speed. Let's start with our vision. So our vision is to create experiences that are simple, transparent, and seamless. And we want to do this across all channels. When I first started at Toyota Motor Europe a couple of years ago, we had just completed our Adobe adoption. And this was an opportunity for us to say, are we really delivering on this vision? And we started a new program of work called Ophelia. And don't worry, you don't need to work out how to spell it. I can tell you that later. But it is a little lesson in Greek mythology. So Ophelia is the Greek goddess of ease and simplicity. And this was our inspiration to think about, are we genuinely delivering simple experiences for our customers, and in particularly on our website? We started with the real hub of our website, where customers understand our product, hopefully get excited about the brand, and create a configuration for their favorite vehicle that then hopefully arrives at one of our retailers to start that communication and conversation. As you can see from this visual, it was really fraught with challenges for the customer. There were many dead ends, many paths that led to information that wasn't clear, unfortunately. A staggering 80% of customers were dropping out when we asked them to make that firm choice. This was clearly an example where we were not simple, transparent, or seamless. So let's take a look at what we've done so far. So, despite the dramatic music, hopefully you also agreed that was also a dramatic improvement on the customer experience. Hopefully a simple, seamless, and transparent one. We know from our pilots that are happening right now in the UK and Poland that we are heading in the right direction. So 30% more customers are actually starting to engage with our configurator. And we have started to reduce that drop-off point by 26%. Lots more optimization required, which I'll talk about in a second. One of the things we wanted to change when we started Ophelia is how we work as well as a team. And perhaps in the past we had been guilty, as Toyota Motor Europe, of working alone or perhaps with one or two pilot markets. But this was going to be different. We wanted to involve more markets, and 12 volunteers, or Ophelia ambassadors, as we called them, joined the team to help us design the blueprint. But there was one key change, this word blueprint. We had moved from a situation where we have today 29 different websites, 29 different European markets, that whilst we create a global English set of content and tools and components and web pages that we hoped they were just translating into their local language, in reality, they'd created, cherry-picked their own parts of the website to create 29 different websites. Absolutely impossible to use data to measure accurately and to optimize at scale. So Ophelia was our stake in the ground. We are now going to work differently, creating one blueprint that works across Europe, and a promise that we will continue to accelerate the improvement of that and optimize it for performance. To do that, we created a new governance framework that we called Digital Governance 2.0. In the center of this framework is the customer. So we have devised a new way to use data to look at behavioral aspects and customer sentiment to say, are we really delivering on the customer need? We also have performance reporting that's available on day one to help us understand where we need to improve, but also to help us prove that business impact and maintain that continued investment in digital. The third area is continuous optimization. This is where we make that promise to never launch and leave. We will be focused on performance in generating more leads, generating better customer satisfaction. And we use our Adobe tech stack, such as Adobe Analytics and Adobe Target, at the heart of that. And then the third piece, or the final piece, sorry, is our blueprint. So this is the standardized blueprint that will be launched across Europe. So, how did I do this with no extra budget and no extra team to set up Digital Governance 2.0? We needed to find a way to use our new capabilities in that Adobe tech stack and keep our promise of continuous optimization in a sustainable way. And this is what I've called crowdsourcing digital talent. So from our 29 markets, we have a wide range of skill sets that are absolutely supportive of this capability. So we've devised a training program that allows all of them to come up to speed with our new tools, our new platforms, our new capabilities, so that together, TME and markets can continuously improve our customer experiences, both for the customer, but also for the business. Thank you very much.
Emma, stay with me. That is inspiring. That is inspiring. Thank you so much. Not a walk in the park.
Absolutely not.
Biggest challenge so far?
So I think this word blueprint, markets were sort of saying standardization, centralization, words that make them go slightly
so you got these 29
yes.
market with 29
yes.
websites.
Yes. So we had to find a way that would make that safe and rigorous. So what we did is we grouped Europe into 6 clusters, but based actually on a number of factors. And one of them was more an independent piece of work that was about cultural differences across Europe. And so actually that's how we've clustered the markets and grouped the markets together.
And was the Dutch market grouped with the Scandinavian or with the Flemish? Because culturally seen,
quite different.
Quite different.
And so they're probably in different groups. I can't remember now. You've got me. But absolutely, this is a way of we will use data ultimately. So whilst the clustering is a guide, this enables markets to feel confident that we will use data and any nuances that might be happening across Europe to flex the blueprint if we need to. So it's about giving that confidence and trust.
Yeah, so you have a blueprint, but also you're open in flexing the blueprint.
Absolutely.
But still you want to have one engine.
Yeah.
Of
there
course.
will only ever be one blueprint, but within the blueprint we have things called fixed, hybrid and flex. And those hybrid elements enable those nuances. I'd like to think customers are the same everywhere, but I think I'm going to be proven wrong.
Okay,
so
it's like my car. So I've got normal, I've got sport, and I've got easy.
Yes.
So like that. You said we're piloting in 2 markets. When are you going live with the whole project?
We are going live in November. This is when one of our new model launches, the CHR, if you fancy a new car, goes live. So it's a great catalyst to launch our new Ophelia.
Is it an engine driving car or an electric car?
Or both.
Both? Okay, I'm looking for an electric car. So, okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Emma Johnson.
Thank you.
Yeah. And together with her partner, Capgemini, she will address a tech talk as well. Thank you so much, Emma, once again. Well, next up, you have experienced his unique talent already today, because technology is taking over your business, marketing, sales, creativity, but also the music industry, because he is a musician artist, he is a looping artist. I would say, take a breather, sit back, enjoy some music by Angelo Boltini. Angelo. Give him a big hand! Angelo! Wow, that is so impressive. As a looping artist, you're adding and adding and adding all the music. My next theme is the generative AI. Will AI take over your profession as well?
I hope not, but I could very well use it because this is way too much work to do by myself, honestly.
Maybe it's even more impressive using AI in the future.
I'll replace myself by...
No, don't. Angelo, thanks again. Stay with us. Really nice. Well, as said, next topic, Gen AI, because the whole idea is to transform your content supply chain. It's all about personalization at scale. You heard that, and then you need something. You need an extra tool, a co-pilot, and that's what said generative AI can be for you as a marketeer. The principal solution consultant at Adobe is here, Johan Lopez Helgesen. I'm going to introduce him, and I'm going to introduce this important pillar, the Gen AI, your co-pilot in experience-led growth. Take a look.
This Adobe veteran blends art, science, and business. Johan Lopez Helgesen is a skilled entrepreneur and software developer, known for creating top-tier digital services. He earned his stripes in agencies across the UK and Sweden, and has been with Adobe for over 10 years.
Wow. Thanks for having me. You saw the picture there. Did you recognize anything weird about that picture? That's my digital twin, actually. For real. Amazing to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm so excited to spend the couple of minutes that I have to just give you some strategies around content. How can you unlock your content supply chain, essentially? So we all know that experience is everything, right? So rich and immersive content captures attention, inspires imagination. But as brands, you need to be able to create personalized experiences. We've heard this all day today, right? And to be able to do that, you're going to need to have content. I always speak in front of people and I talk about how content is still king. It's still king because, without content, you're not going to be able to deliver on these experiences. But also, it's important to say that data is also important. Without data, you can create as much content as you want. If you don't have data to be able to really, use it to the best of your ability, it's just going to be a waste of money. And brands have actually understood that. They've understood that the fact that if they want to really, differentiate themselves, you guys need to differentiate yourselves from your competitors, right? And you're going to need to really master content at scale. So we've seen that struggle that people are having right now. Jamie talked about this, how manual workflows, siloed operations, and technology roadblocks is still available out there in the enterprise. And we see that that's basically going to relegating more than 25% of assets and content that gets created these days to the waste bin. This is where generative AI comes in, guys.
Future looks like wow. Oh wow. It's like wow. Yeah. Future looks like wow. Oh wow. And it starts right now. Yeah. Future looks like wow. Go and get it, go and get it, go and get it, go. Go and get it, go and get it, go and get it, go. Go and get it, go and get it, go and get it, go. Coming up right now, and it's looking like how? Wow. Wow. The future looks like wow, and it starts right now. It's like wow, introduce ya. It's a brand new future. Wow.
Great, huh? Did you like that? It's awesome. Thank you. So, if we go beyond all the hype that surrounds generative AI, we can see that it's not only a new feature. I wanted to highlight this because this is a foundational platform of technology that's like this big shifts that we saw before, going from PC to web, from web to mobile, from mobile to cloud, and now Gen AI is here. But if you iron out a couple of questions as legal, copyright, and brand concerns that you guys have, rightly so, Gen AI can really deliver on this massive demand that we see for content. I talked about how content is exploding, and you need content to be able to create personalized experiences, right? So what does this enable you to do? I just wanted to share a couple of pillars here, 3. First one is the ideation. You sit with this blank page. How do you remove yourself from going from the blank page? By having AI, as Martin said, as your co-pilot, you're able to really kickstart your project, right? It's going to enable you to do that. And second one is the removing the barriers between the imagination. It's actually the second one is the increasing the ease of speed of discovery. And suggesting variations and modifications. So this is the beauty of having this co-pilot that understands your context and give you loads of new ideas and suggestions. But it's important here, as big brands, big to small brands as well, you need guardrails in place so you don't let this AI loose and just creating content that's not going to be on brand. That's very important. We're going to highlight a little bit of that in the tech talk later on. Finally, the scalability. We're talking about personalization at scale a lot today, right? How do you keep up with the explosion in demand for content and achieve personalization at scale? This is where, if you have an orchestration of, I think one of the speakers was talking about this, people, the soft value. If you orchestrate the 3 Ps, the people, the processes, the intellectual property that you have in your company, as well as the technology, that's the beauty, because then you can do scalability. That's when you can scale. We're talking about content supply chain. That's how you unlock content supply chain, right? So when you go beyond doing prompting, how many of you guys have tested Firefly, Adobe Firefly? Raise your hands. A lot of people. I'm speaking to the choir here, right? But the beauty here is that Martin was talking about Adobe Max being starting later tonight. We're introducing more and more controls. When you go beyond text prompting, when you get new modalities like 3D and video and audio, you can do amazing things. You can control this beast, right? This black box. In the slide here, I'm just showing a work of a Finnish artist that I work a lot with. Is basically been training a model that allows you to give your hero, your character, continuity. How about controlling the age of your character? How about controlling the age so you can actually tell the story to follow the continuity? This is what is happening right now. How about placing that specific model in various scenes and locations? Speaking of sustainability, how about saving money in terms of photo shoots? And you can see a couple of more use cases later on, right? This is really awesome stuff. Check out this artist's homepage if you want to see more training your own model. But later on, at Adobe Max, we're going to talk more about this, and you're going to see the beginning of next year that you can come as a brand and you can actually do this kind of stuff as well with your own brand. So moving swiftly, I'm just going to leave you with three use cases here. So the first use case is the seasonal variations. How are you going to be able to create variations for travel rewards credit cards offers, for example, and personalize vacation destinations based on profile travel preferences? Very simple. You can do that by generating the assets through generative fill in Photoshop, for example. Secondly, how do you geo-target personalization? How do you do that? For example, if you have a national insurance provider that can create localized assets based on state or community, or even regionalize that to municipality, you can as well. And finally, I want to leave you with this, because when you do photo shoots, you have big brands spending loads of money in photo shoots, and then they come back and these assets are not really on point. You can now, with the help of Gen AI, extend, for example, an image that's, you just get a specific cut of that specific image from using for mobile, but to horizontal images that can be used for the web, for example. So, guys, I can go on forever. It's going red here. They want me to stop speaking now. But you see that these are just 3 use cases, just the tip of the iceberg that I've just shared with you. And if you want to know a little more about both, Jamie talked about Sensei Gen AI, which is for marketers, right? So you can create copies similar to ChatGPT, similar, but obviously more on steroids. And then Adobe Firefly. Check out these QR codes. And obviously, I'll be here or so. We're going to be talking about the tech talk later on. And thanks for having me.
Johan! Wow, I love it. Okay, I got a question for you about the models. Whom of Adobe will explain the agencies and the models that the next bikini shoot is not in South Africa?
That's a curveball. There's no way I'm going to be able to.
I mean, because that's the thing, because I love it. If you're talking about sustainability, that's what it is.
Yeah,
We're flying to Cape Town for this expensive bikini shoots, and it's working at an agency, it's great to be there for 2 weeks with all those models, but it's not sustainable.
It's not. True.
Yeah. Hey, am I right or what? Yeah, that is changing in your life.
It is.
Good. Hey, something else about Firefly.
Yeah.
I used it. I loved it.
Cool.
But there's a copyright thing.
Yes.
Images created by Firefly, they don't have any artist. There's no photographer. It's just a computer. Yeah. Whose copyright is that?
That's a good question. So first, I need to just quickly tell you, when we talk about generative AI in general, it doesn't have to be Adobe. It needs to be commercially safe, right? You as a brand, you want to be able to use that from a commercially safe perspective. Firefly is commercially safe. You can use it commercially, no worries, right? But we need to also talk about plagiarism. How has this, engine been trained? And this is where copyright issues in this third pillar coming in here. So plagiarism, you need to be afraid of that, because if the Gen AI has been trained on assets that's being scraped over the web, you'll be in trouble. But our solution obviously is being created with our own kind of Adobe stock images, 300 million plus of images.
Okay.
So you can use that commercially.
Using the Adobe stock images?
Yes, to train the Firefly. So that's safe.
Yeah.
But to answer your question about copyright issues here, there is a US precedent, almost like the first kind of a legal battle that's happening right now. So that can be used almost globally as a precedent for how this is going to look globally. The thing is, you cannot take copyright if you just generate an image alone and then just using it, just straight from the machine.
You can't claim the copyright?
You can't claim the copyright, no. You need, according to this legal battle that's happening in the US, to have enough human craftsmanship. They haven't put if it's going to be 50% human or 50% kind of generative AI yet. But remember, though, that the copyright law is from 1973 or something like that. So it's not really coping with the reality, guys. So there's more to happen in that space.
New legislation is always behind.
Yeah.
But adding craftsmanship means that as a person, you're working on the images. Yeah. So then you lose the advantages of the big scale. Yeah, so that's a disadvantage. One last question. Prompt engineers, prompt managers, that's already a profession. Whom of you has a prompt engineer or prompt manager in-house already?
Raise your hand if you have.
Do you have one? Because that's the new profession. Maybe the copyright can be connected to the best prompter.
Absolutely. I was talking to Bill, our coach, earlier today. He said that same thing. So, you can spend a lot of time in tweaking this prompt. There's no reason why you shouldn't actually add that as part of your human craftsmanship.
It's a great new job, a kind of Socrates job, just asking questions all day. That's what you do. Hey, Johan, with a big hand. Thanks again.
Thank you
so much.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Okay, guys, let's talk content. Because in your ideal world, there's a perfect content supply chain. You already got it, of course. And it's from creation towards distributions and analysis, all that in your content supply chain. A business solution consultant of Adobe, Pieter Schouten, he is back on stage because he wants to share his ideal world. And it's not a dream, it's reality, because we're going to talk about competitive through content.
Hi everyone, it's your demo guy again. So in the next few minutes, I'd like to show you how Adobe powers the complete content supply chain with Adobe Gen Studio, from planning to production to delivery to analysis. And Adobe Gen Studio contains all the integrated tools to create on-brand content at scale, to create those personalized experiences at scale. I'd like to go through the 3 pillars of Adobe Gen Studio through the lens of Luma, a fictitious retailer that's specialized in sports gear. Let's switch to the demo. Okay, here we are, and we're live. I'm currently in Adobe Workfront, and I'm going to kick off a new autumn sports campaign in Workfront. It's October, the autumn is very nearby, and we're getting new sports gear that we'd like to present on our shop. Anyways, over here I have all my different campaigns that we're currently running within the organization. I can visualize these campaigns in time. As you can see, I've already created my new autumn arrivals campaign over here. When I dive in, you can see all the different tasks and assets that are allocated to every different owner. You can see some approved assets, and this centralization within this campaign ensures we're all working towards the same goal. The nice thing is that Workfront empowers everyone to work and keep working in their own tools. For example, here you can see the second task, which is update the autumn site image. So let's switch to creation and production of how we're going to update that site image. Okay, so I'm now a creative professional. I'm not the marketeer anymore, so I'm in my favorite application, Adobe Photoshop. And here in Adobe Photoshop, I have my work list ready, where all my projects and tasks are listed. One of my tasks due tomorrow is the live outdoors banner. I need to update it with autumn colors. The nice thing is of this integration is that I can have feedback, I can collaborate with colleagues, and I can send it for approval. Okay, so let's update this image very quickly with an autumn overlay, add some dividers, looks nice. Okay, I can now upload it here straight in the Adobe Workfront plugin for the Creative Cloud. By the way, there are also different plugins for all different tools. This is just an example in the Creative Cloud. I can mark it as done, and the asset will be uploaded to AEM Assets for approval and maybe for feedback. Okay, let's switch to Adobe Experience Maker Assets. And here you can see that the banner has already been updated in the DAM, Adobe Experience Manager Assets. Like many organizations, Luma has creatives that are responsible for the creation of primary assets and imagery. like you can see over here. But frequently, marketers need to be able to create on-the-fly content that is on-brand and in line with brand guidelines. So, in that case, that's where Adobe Express comes in. Let's take this tent as an example. Here in Adobe Express, which is built for marketers to create on-brand content that is in line with what creatives have already approved, you can see that I have some stuff already available for me, with logos, with colors, with fonts. I even can use templates, for example, for presentations, videos, infographics, or flyers. And I can leverage some media that has been added to me. The example I'd like to show you today is, as what already been mentioned by Johan, is that we're going to start soon to be able to train the Adobe Firefly model with your own products. So, for example, we have trained the Adobe Firefly model with this Luma Quest tent. You can see the Quest logo on the tent itself. I can now, using the prompt, use this tent in Adobe Firefly and place it in an environment with mountains and a lake. Here you go. Here you have the Luma Quest tent placed in a generated environment by Adobe Firefly. So I can now add some text to it. Here we go. Where's my text? So here I am. I've selected the text. I've added it in this example in a different font. By pressing the theme that has been pre-approved by creative professionals, I can now create this tent, and it's already on brand, so I can use it and activate it in all my channels. So I'm saving it. It becomes available in all different sizes in AEM assets, and I can deliver and activate it in every channel, in this case, in the activation and delivery channel of Adobe Gen Studio. So let's switch to AEM sites. So you can see that the asset is already updated over here because of the connection with AEM assets. And here in the Universal Designer of AEM sites, I can now create my product page. I already have some details in here, some specifications. And again, I can leverage Adobe Sensei Gen AI to adjust the page with an optimized product description. I'd like to get it engaging. I want it to be brand aware. Already filled in my prompt. And here you go. The new text is generated and added to the product page. Adobe Sensei Gen AI takes into account that this is a product page, so you get a different text than you would expect. Okay, I can now save this. And it's ready to be delivered. So let's fast forward in time and move towards content analytics. Here in content analytics, I can dig into the actual content performance of the assets on my different channels. For example, over here, different websites, web pages. I can understand and measure the characteristics of the experiences that resonate with my customers. For example, this is a specific web page with details where you can see that assets, how they are performing, top performing assets over here, page views, clicks, etc. And I can help my creative team to decide what content to create. I can even dig deeper by looking at the attributes. Pages with the most clicks, image color palettes with the most clicks, or even the text emotion in my pages that resonate the most with the most clicks. This is very valuable information. I can even create new audiences of people that I can retarget through Adobe Journey Optimizer or maybe through advertising, as I demonstrated before. Okay, let's switch to the conclusion. What you've seen very briefly is how Adobe powers the content supply chain with Adobe Gen Studio, aligning planning and teams around a single source of truth that enables efficient content creation led by creatives and assisted by AI. And for the first time in history, you can gain insights on how the content actually is performing. Thank you very much.
Wow. Pieter Schouten, dankjewel. Thank you so much. Just go ahead. I was just thinking this tent and this fire. This is a nylon tent. This fire was pretty close, don't you think? That's a thing. We have to learn AI that you need to have the fire some kind of 5 or 8 meters from the tent. I think that's better. This is nice, of course, having your content supply chain and having all these tools. But the question is how to put this in practice in a big brand, big company like Adidas. And the Director Special Projects of Adidas, Ruxandra Bocin, is here with us. Let's give her a hand and an introduction.
Ruxandra Bocin-Dimitriou is an entrepreneurial business director at Adidas. With 19 years of experience in digital, she excels in marketing, strategy, innovation, and business modeling. She is successful in sales, branding, and in-house digital agency programs, cultivating impactful teams for outstanding results.
So, Ruxandra, warm welcome on stage.
Hello.
Good to have you here.
Great to be here.
What a great dress!
Proudly representing.
That is so cool. I need to have that for my wife.
It's on her.
So you want to do some more sports, honey? There you go. It's even in a dress. I love that. So your role at Adidas. Yeah, your role at Adidas. Can you tell me a little bit more about it?
Of course. So I'm Director Special Projects with Adidas, working within the digital organization and enabling the next for digital within Adidas, basically looking at digital infrastructure, change management, anything that enables us to go further in order to basically create the personalization at scale, the Gen AI initiatives on.
Yes. To combine that all.
Yes, we have. Wow. Obviously, we are there, but scale is the big thing. And scale and complexity at a brand like Adidas is...
We're going to talk about that. What kind of project are you working on right now?
I'm here to share with you a little bit about the NOVA program, about our hurdles, but also successes and how we sort of change the marketing process within Adidas.
Okay, and it is about complexity and scale, as you said. What are the numbers, for example?
Well, so for us, we create around 3 million assets every year without considering all the localizations and all the things that are happening. There's around almost 2,000 people that are touching these things throughout their lifespan. So from like planning and briefing and actual over 100 agencies that in different respects they're creating the content. But also we work with a lot of athletes and content creators. And I mean, you have to imagine Adidas, it's all content for Adidas. It's also about the sport and the actual move within the sport. So the complexity around there, just by the type of content, are enormous. And on top of that, we were not prepared because we were having within the marketing end-to-end process around 50 platforms that were not talking to each other. And yes, you can do a lot. You can do a lot of personalization. You can do a lot of Gen AI and all things. But you cannot do at scale if these things don't talk to each other.
And this is in markets all over the world?
We're talking globally, yes. So this is a program that goes,
And 3,000 athletes with 3,000 managers.
Yes, of course.
They got something to say.
Well, I mean, they have their passion for sport, and that's what we want to capture. That's where you really have to be at each market, in each event. You know, it's Olympics, it's World Cup football, it's events, you know, cultural events, concerts, and so on and so forth. You really want to be there for that particular moment. So that.
And to make it quite easy, you want to have some alignment in this.
Yes.
What are the main obstacles you have to overcome?
Well, we realized very early on that the content wastage is a big problem. Also, transparency, because you know, we knew as an internal creative agency within digital, we knew what we were creating, but we realized pretty early on not everybody as much as we tried, was having access. Similarly, we were not aware of what other people were doing. And so these were the hurdles to start with.
Yeah, and you started 6 years ago already.
I think the first organic moment was around 2017, 2018, when within digital we realized we have to get this done, because otherwise we're not going to be able to keep up with the future. At the same time, you cannot change a brand like Adidas from one team alone. So we connected forces with procurement, who were looking at this problem from a slightly different angle, then with brand, finally with tech. And in 2020, we had this really organized and clear business case, bottom up. So it was not something that came from above. And
so you had the view and the idea that you need a digital transformation to cope with the competitors, for example. But the first 3 years were in-house, were within the company, within Adidas, bottom up, working on some kind of transition and a business model for it.
Working up, realizing that if we are to change the whole end-to-end marketing process, we really have to be, like the whole company has to be, to want to do it. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just too big to happen. Yeah.
Wow. And so that was in 2020?
In 2020, we had the program with the board, and it was signed off, and it became a priority. 2021 was all about finding the vendors. So we looked in the market, I think 12 or more companies in the RFI, RFP. Adobe, honestly, by that time, we really had a very good list of requirements from all these areas. So just have to say, fair and square, absolutely the best on everything that we needed. So no politics, right? Everybody wanted this change. The technology, great, and also the relationship with IBM X, great.
Yeah, because you're working with IBM as well. And how did technology help you then to build a solid foundation? What happened then?
Well, from this point of view, all was great. Because 70% of change management projects and at this scale, more probably are failing. So these kind of first, problematic areas were all covered for us. The part that was actually giving us the hurdles were how huge this change was. And it wasn't just, people sometimes push back on change management. No, I don't want to be the first team, try somewhere else. No, I don't want to be the first market. We didn't have that. Everybody wanted to be...
in a sports organization, everybody wants to be first.
And, but then even for our implementation team, everybody felt overwhelmed. Yeah. How do we start this?
And you started the Nova project. We see it on the screen as well. That's a nice name.
Yes, it is.
A good big project globally needs a good name.
It's true. Yeah. It's in a nutshell, and there'll be way more details in the tech talk. What we also looked, and what Peter has described, is basically this. We looked at the central source of truth for all content that we create, irrespective of who is generating or creating that content. And then that's pretty normal, I would say, for a big corporate to have a central dam. But then the most important part was the ring that is around, which is the workflow management. So every single interaction with that content to be centralized and connected. And you'll hear a little bit more of how complex this particular piece actually is.
I understand, but where are you now? All the agencies and athletes and creatives in the world have to work in this circle, or?
We basically, because this is so overwhelming, we had to start small and in iterative, agile MVPs until we had our big business go live in May this year. Yeah. Since then, in terms of cost savings, we saved over $1 million just within our corner of the digital part.
But you picked just one country, one market to start?
No, globally.
Oh, you start globally because you said small.
No, within within the process part. We started with a few of the process slices and get them all in.
Or just with
and
the few groups of products, for example.
Exactly, some groups of...
Just shoes or the jacket or...
No. We started in the process, end-to-end process, we started with the agency creation module. And so anything from when the brief is there until the assets are delivered, and now we're moving into the demand intake, where it's like anything from planning, we actually plan to go live end of this year. And in May, when I think, one of the, if we look next,
because in May you had a party, you had a go live, and now the question is, of course, this is the end of the project phase. Now it has to be placed in.
It's still a year ahead of us until we get the full end-to-end thing. We're kind of halfway through right now. We keep it small, ring-fenced scope, so we can actually achieve. When you look at how complex this is and you start to see, but how are we going to fix that? What will this team say, and so on? It feels like it's never going to happen. But the beginning is, I think, the most important, to get that rhythm, to get that speed, and then it's actually possible. And celebrate very fast. Like this is one of our...
And keep it alive is keep on celebrating.
Keep it alive, keep on celebrating, and next phase, and next phase.
Wow. And you will address a tech talk as well, together with IBM, for some more technical details.
More on tech, yes. Yeah.
I love the story.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. With a big hand. Luxandra.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you. That was a good party, I can see that. Whom of you knows Janderland? Beversport in Netherlands? Yeah, you do. Yeah, so good. Janderland, Beversport is part of Janderland, is quite bigger. And they are sharing a story about a different stage and a different skill, different than Adidas, of course. But the process in delivering these great customer experiences is actually the same. Let's take a look.
Probably you don't know Jonderland, but you'll definitely know Ace Adventure and U2 in Belgium, Bever in the Netherlands, and then Cotswold Outdoor, Runners Need and Snow and Rock in the UK. And together we form the largest premium outdoor retailer. It's all about encouraging people to truly explore the outdoors. We want to be the go-to partner for every journey you're planning for. We want to be where our customers are. And we think that we can offer relevant information to our customers, regardless the phase in the buying journey they are, by offering the right message at the right time. So I think it's really important to capture every moment so that we know what they are doing and what they are expecting from us as a brand. AI can definitely help, and that's definitely what we're going to use in our customer journeys, but we still feel that the personal touch will be very much needed. Teams working too much in silos, which leads to offering fragmented customer journeys. I think teams still realize their use cases, but they do so in their own product or tool. We think we need one central platform where we can really store and process the data in real time, and then also make a platform that is as user-friendly as possible for our marketeers to turn that data into meaningful messaging. The biggest learning, I believe, is that you really need to involve your business teams as soon as possible so they know everything about the implementation and the data. I think technology is definitely one part and will be a very big chunk, but I think the biggest challenge ahead of us is people and data. So really transforming teams and getting them into the details of data so they know what they are working with. I think it's really investing in new technology that allows for that real-time capturing of data and acting on that data, and it's really about transforming our teams.
Well, thank you, Kjell. Kjell of Janderland will address a TED Talk as well at the end of the show after the plenary. So, where are we now? We've learned about content. However, the loyalty of your customers is, of course, not only based on the best content or the best customer experience, but it is also based on trust. You have to find the trust of your customers. And this trust is, of course, determined by the business values of your business, of the brand. So we're going to talk about values. And we're going to talk about Formula One, because the fan base of Williams Racing, they are loyal because of Adobe. And Adobe is helping them outside the track, because on the track, Williams Racing has an issue with Max. Whom of you thinks that Max Verstappen will get to 7 wins, 7 championships next to Hamilton and Schumacher? Just checking, just checking. Quite some of you. Well, that's nice. Because we're going to talk about Formula One. Aidan Lyons is the Chief Growth Officer of Williams Racing. He's our final keynote speaker, and it's time for our last pillar, creating values through values.
It is a new dawn, the greatest sporting spectacle on earth. Formula One is racing!
Williams Racing. We are raw, authentic, brave.
All okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
The passion for racing above all else. Rising from a brilliant legacy. 114 race wins, 7 Drivers' Championships, and 9 Constructors' Championships.
This overwhelming desire to move forward on the grid. The team will do what it takes to get there.
We are true F1. We are Williams Racing. Join us.
Aidan Lyons is a skilled global sports expert. He once started out on a US soccer scholarship, has over 10 years of experience in leading data-driven marketing teams in the NFL, and is now Chief Growth Officer at Williams Racing, creating the ultimate cross-channel fan experience.
Hi, Aidan. Good to have you here.
Thank you, everyone.
Aidan Lyons.
Thank you.
Lots of you will look at the Drive to Survive Netflix docu. You do as well.
Yes.
Have you ever appeared in Drive to Survive?
I did appear in Drive to Survive.
You did?
I appeared in season 4, episode 6.
Oh, you know exactly.
For 2 seconds. For 2 seconds. I actually missed it. People sent me the screenshot. I'm like, how did you pick that out?
You were just walking
I was
somewhere.
standing behind, clapping behind our principals.
I made a joke about Max, but what's your view on his success?
Oh, Max is in a class of his own in the sense that he is the best car on the track, but he's the best driver on the track.
Yeah.
Meaning it doesn't necessarily mean you look at Checo's results and you look at Max's results. Checo is not doing as well as Max. So Max is just unique and he's at the prime of his career. He has the best car on his track. Maybe the Gen AI can produce something where Williams can beat Max, but other than that, I don't think we're beating Max right now.
Okay. I'm going to give you the floor to address your keynote. Take it away.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. When I first got the phone call to go work with Williams, I grew up in Dublin, so I grew up understanding Formula One. I knew the value of it. I knew the heritage of it. I knew what you see behind me with, 52% of fans want to be Williams fans. That's also unique to Formula One, where people can be fans of 2 teams. Most other sports like soccer, football, you're not a fan of Ajax and PSV. You're not a fan of Manchester United and Manchester City. You're a fan of one team. In Formula One, it's different. Then having lived in the States for almost 30 years now, I've seen the impact of Drive to Survive. I've seen the growth in the audience. I've seen the change in that audience. I know from our own data for the last 2 years, it's #1 in consumption, #1 engagement, #1 in commerce. So I had a little bit of a cheat code in understanding all this before I went to Williams. And what I understood was that, okay, we have a strong fan base. We know where the fan base is. My screen's gone. But where are they? Where are these fans? What are they doing? What are they connecting with? How do we communicate with them? So I started with basic numbers. You have a Nielsen number. It's a very big number, 391 million. I know we can all be skeptical about Nielsen, the numbers, but cut it in half, take it as a third, it's still a big number. But then I said, okay, where's the next part of the funnel? I said, okay, social, we have about 4 million at that time. We've grown it to 6. Not bad, it's decent, it's okay. But all of the problems with the walled gardens, you don't own that journey, you can't create that connection. You can also be struggling with how you communicate, what's getting through the algorithms, and so on and so forth. So I said, where should we focus on next? We should focus on our digital properties because I can't create that one-to-one connection. I can't communicate with them. I can't push to them. And our current platforms were like a corporate website. They put up a press release and that was it. Wasn't engaging, wasn't driving a reason to come back. There was definitely no reason to become a registered fan and engage with us. So I said, let's focus on the bottom part of that funnel. I know we have the top part of the funnel, so let's push down that funnel and use those to get to where we need to be. So how do we do that? The first thing that was most important, and we've talked about a lot today, is content. We needed tonnage of content. We needed articles upon articles. We needed videos upon videos, because without that tonnage, you're not giving a reason to create that connection to come back. If I come back and it's static, I'm not coming back again. So we created an editorial desk, and the focus of the editorial desk was to drive and create that tonnage and get that tonnage on digital, use social to drive to that. The second piece was the content need to be authentic. And authentic is probably a word that's used too much. By authentic, what we mean, we needed that content to come from Williams staff. We didn't need to pay for any talent. It had to be Williams staff. What is also unique about Formula One is Friday through Sunday is owned by Formula One. We don't get access to that content. Monday through Thursday is ours. So we wanted to use our staff, our employees, Monday and Thursday to create authentic content. The second thing about authenticity, it is a British brand. We need to speak in a British voice. We need to speak with that authentic voice, especially to that US audience. They want to hear authentic voice talking to them about Formula One. The last piece is, no, you don't have to hide it. We were 10th in the Construction Championship last year. We're now up to 7th, largely part of James Valls. But I spoke to James when he came on board. I said, you need to talk about the race, whether we were good or whether we were bad, whether we were successful or whether we had a DNF. You cannot not talk about the race at all. And he has been absolutely amazing. If you go to our site and check out Val's Verdict or download our app, Unashamed plug. If you go there and down and watch him on the Val's Verdict, he's absolutely brilliant in talking about whether the race was good, whether the race was bad, and so on and so forth. The Williams warm-up, like I said, is all Williams staff. You will not find any paid talent there. All those stories are engineers or aerodynamics or creative directors, so on and so forth. So that's what we mean by authentic. Authentic voice, authentic in where we are in the pit lane, and authentic that these are Williams employees. So once we got the content piece sorted out, which creates a certain stickiness and that return visit and the loyalty, the next piece was, okay, how do we do something that differentiates us from the rest of the paddock? How do we build something that drives that really deep in engagement? So we focused on digital features. Before I came, at the weekend when there was a Grand Prix, we didn't even have a live experience. So great, we put on a live experience. We talk about how the drivers are doing, pit stops, tire changes, so on and so forth. But we needed to do a little more than that. We needed something more than just a live experience. So what we do is we gamified it. Every time you go to the live experience, you can claim a badge. Every badge is different creative, which is based on the Grand Prix we're in. And then the customers and fans can collect the badges all through the year. And then at the end of the year, we reward them with prizes for collecting all the badges. If perchance we have a P10 or a P8 or a P6, maybe sometime in the future, a P3, we award another badge for that. So again, it personalized the experience to the performance of that race, and the people can claim those badges. The next was, I know from my time at the NFL that fantasy football, fantasy sports drive the most engagement, the most return visits. At the NFL, 80% of our consumption was driven by 20% of our audience. So we said, let's create something that is similar. Let's create pit wall predictions, which basically gives you the opportunity to predict how Alex and Logan are going to do. And then you're scored, then you're ranked against your peers, and it creates a bit of an opportunity for banter and slagging, as we would say. So we launched pit wall predictions, 61,000 registered users, but the return rate is 20x, right? And also, our competitors don't have it. So they don't have a predictor game. I think Red Bull did rip us off this year, but it gives us, separates and differentiates us from our competitive set. Then our fan profile was important. We wanted to make it, I'm not just registering because they want my data. We wanted to make it something that they could customize, something that they could personalize, something that we could then use to communicate to them. So in the fan profile, there's up to 40 different variations where you can customize it. your helmet, your number, your favorite driver, your favorite esports driver, but it just again creates that personal connection that gives us the ability to communicate to the fan. And again, those users have a 5x return rate. One of the issues which I struggled with when I started was getting a presence trackside to sell merchandise was very difficult because of our placement in the Constructors Championship. What I did notice about Grand Prix is they're very similar to Super Bowls. In a Super Bowl, you have a downtown area and you have a stadium. Everyone stays downtown area and then they go to the stadium. Grand Prix, you have a downtown area and you have a track. Everyone stays at the downtown area and they go to the track. When I went to Austin, the picture that was actually up with me was, I think I was the only one to leave the paddock. I walked around Austin and I timed the throughput of the F1 experiences there at Austin, and it was 15 to 20 minutes per fan. I'm like, that's not an experience, that's painful. And then I also said to myself, okay, you're going to put us beside Red Bull, Mercedes, and McLaren, we're going to get drowned out. So we said, okay, instead, we'll create an immersive experience downtown, all Williams, nothing else. We'll put it there 4 or 5 days before the event comes. We'll make it free so you grant that access, and we'll watch the fans come in. And we're not discriminating if you're a Mercedes or Williams or a McLaren or whatever fan, but my favorite moments in the fan activations is when a McLaren fan or a Red Bull fan comes in and buys our merchandise and puts it on and leaves. That's very satisfying. The other thing with the fan zones was we bring Alex, Logan down, James Vowles, Jensen to do Q&A. And what we found is, okay, now again, we've differentiated from ourselves. We've differentiated our content because what we've done is created live content on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, when none of the other teams have live content, which essentially means that during the week, sometimes during midweek, our engagement is higher than it is on the weekend in the Grand Prix. Now, I know you can say your track performance would probably dictate that. However, it's still impressive that you're just streaming a live Q&A with Alex. Some of the questions are very special, but it literally has lifted our midweek to be I think Wednesday is our highest traffic day. So again, it shows if you build these digital features, differentiate yourselves, then the content and the programming will follow. So what's coming next for us? Well, thanks to Mr. Vowles, we're definitely on an upward trend. And you saw the video when it says, join the journey, right? What we need to do is we need to continue to make that connection. We need to continue to create that stickiness. We need to continue to create that loyalty. We're definitely going to double down on our interactive games. We'll build out more of those in a platform where we can do them in, and we'll do it with our partners. There's a new partner being announced, so we can do things like how much weight does a driver lose during a race, which is pretty interesting. The other thing is which we started with a freemium model. I knew if I started my funnel too early, what I would do is just narrow it down to a smaller audience. So we started with free, everything was free. The badges were free, Pitwall Predictions was free. Now what we need to do is we need to move to a premium model, right? So we'll still give you everything free, you'll come in and engage, but then we're going to start to tease you with things like get your own specialized helmet, create a loyalty program which will incentivize you to engage with more with our merchandise with us on whole. So we're moving to the premium phase of the program. Once we've done that, then we'll start to extract more value. The bulk of the value now is still in direct to consumer in merchandise and then also supporting our sponsorship team. But it was purposely designed to start it off with free and then move to premium. And now that we've got the engagement, we're now move to premium. So if there was 3 things I would take away that I would offer you today is 1, authenticity. Speak with that authentic voice from a perspective of your brand and where you are in your journey. 2, build out digital features. Those digital features will help with those engagements. And then 3, I would say, use that to differentiate yourself from your competitive set. And that has worked for us. So thank you very much for your time.
Oh, I love that. It is a British team.
Correct.
So how important is keeping Silverstone on the calendar for you?
Oh, it's hugely important. That's the home race. Last year was our 800 race for it. So keeping Silverstone is massively important. I talked about the fan activation. We had one in Piccadilly. We had 21,000 fans come through. And one of the unique things when we do the fan activations is the age group is between 18 and 26, right?
And
so
do you have enough influence on that calendar? Because You see that the old races, they're under pressure because of budgets, and the new races in, let's say, certain countries with certain regimes, that's quite easy because they pay.
They pay. We can't control that, but we will control where we do a fan activation, meaning we'll go to the ones where we see the best engagement from the fans.
Yeah. Hamilton and Russell are British drivers as well, of course. Is there some kind of competition between the British team and the British drivers that drive at a different team? And
yes,
how do you work on that?
Well, we be authentic. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
We talk about our British voice and we talk about our drivers. Alex is awesome. He obviously is Thai British, so we're halfway there.
Yeah.
Logan is American. So that helps us in the other market that I spoke about.
Yeah.
But it's hard to compete with a 8-time world champion.
Seven,
sorry. Going back to the generative AI.
He wants to have this 8.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
Max in the last corner, he just took it.
That was our driver, Nicolas Latifi.
Yeah.
That caused
Thank
all
you
that.
for that.
My fault.
Well, it was lovely. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Once
Thank
again.
you, everyone.
Ada Lions. For me, it was a pleasure being your host today. Hopefully, next year. If not, then there's a robot with Gen AI, but I hope to see you next year. Thank you. Bye.